What's up, crew? Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back to Wolf Trading. Let's go. We got Fausto joining us this afternoon, too. How we doing?
Let's go.
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Getting ready for this close. Got a little bit of a bounce after a little correction this morning. I don't know what the hell happened, but all of a sudden
It's been a wild one. I freaking love your charts again. Your charts are the best. Honestly, some of my favorite charts.
It's called the KISS method. Keep it
simple. Exactly.
It's that, and then basically just slap this on over here. Just see where the orders are. Where am I? Right here. There we are. And just check on see where the big blocks are, and see where we are. Watching a lot of selling going on right now with the Tesla up here, having a tough time breaking, but it came back a little bit. Just some of the brand name stocks have been. I have a bunch of swing trades open right now, but as day trading goes, there were a couple of stocks that were pretty good with some earnings that came out.
Yeah, what are you watching?
Well, Hood came out with earnings, and
Hood was an interesting one.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. We do something called a slingshot. I don't know if you guys ever heard it, try it before, but like we do it on earnings. You see, let me bring this up a little bigger. You can see here. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll put you put a trade out of the money order after hours, and you can see how it came all the way down here to 134 and shot right back up to like 343. So
yeah, you try and pick up some of those bids at one of those lows and just hope you get a nice reaction.
Yeah, we call it a slingshot. So you could see a hit right here, in pre-market, like was that 940? Was that like 135? If you had an order out there 135 right after hours, boom, it would have been nice for a nice little 5-6 point route on Hood as a slingshot. But we were watching that, and obviously the market came down. But this is like more of a day trade, scout we call it.
Yeah,
in the after hours. But other than that, I mean, it's a lot of the big earnings already came out. So other than some things are taking some big hits, so just sitting back and watching really right now, see what goes on to the close.
Yeah, do you find yourself trading a bit heavier through the earnings season, or maybe being a bit lighter? I always find myself ending up being a bit lighter, even though we get that added volatility a lot of the time. But it's just I generally like to trade a simpler market or a cleaner market that doesn't have all that added into it. So I'm curious what you're doing there.
Yeah, I'm the same. I kind of trade a little bit lighter because what happens is that like I was a market maker, and the analysts out there don't know what the street's doing, so they want to feel out everybody else until the news really comes out, and it's usually what happens after the earnings announcement. It's on the phone call what they expect. And then by the time they realize, and that's kind of playing poker with everyone, you know what I mean? So they don't know what everyone else is doing. And then you really kind of see a little bit more after a day or so if it's going to be a good swing trade, or is it going to continue as a day trade, whatever it is. And that's usually how you kind of do it. But I do I'm the same way. I don't trade as much until I start seeing where the smoke clears on that.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just I don't know. Same with FOMC weeks. Like last week, I'm sure it's similar for you. I literally took one trade on Friday, and that was it. And I'm a day trader. You know what I mean? I like to take my trades throughout the week. I literally took one trade that whole week, and it ended up being a loser. Actually, it was a loser. It was a small loser. Not a big deal. But it's just funny. Like, not much opportunity for my style personally. I'm sure somebody could have found plenty of opportunity last week with the movement. But either way, just for me, no clarity, no clear setups. And so I think it's a big deal when it comes down to these big binary events that are happening or earnings. And, you got to be able to know when to step away. That's really when I see the best traders maybe still getting taken out by the market, is they just don't know when to stay out of the market. So I'm curious, like Fausto, what do you do to, I guess, stay out of these hellish moments in the market? How do you identify these spots and know, hey, maybe I need to be a little lighter, hit the brakes here, or maybe I can be, a little bit more pedal to the metal?
That's a great question. And it's a problem a lot of people have. Everybody feels like they have to trade, but if it's not there, you don't. I tend to trade very, if not any, when the market goes down, unless I want out of positions. I just don't like what's happening. So when the market's like down, I'm not really trading. I'm just sitting there watching. I'm trying to what's called bottom fish. I'm trying to see what stocks that get really, really beat up, and then maybe when we get a little bit of a rally, a little bit of bounce in the market, then I'll buy. Then I'll try to buy it on the rebound. But I'm like you. You're really not supposed to trade too much. I mean, like, so I'm
Less is more sometimes.
yeah, less. Yeah, right. You don't have to trade like Palantir. Everyone's talking about. I have some videos. I've been trading Palantir since the damn thing was like $60. And I'm still pissed I sold it so much sooner. It just went up.
I traded that thing back and forth from like 12 to 20, like 10 times. And then like it broke out from 20. And I think I sold it at like 35 and was like, yes, great trade.
You got great trade, right? You think the best.
And it was a good trade. But then now you look back and you're like, God.
There's a way to make you feel good about that. Look at some stocks that you probably had and see that got crushed and be like, you know what? If I traded every stock the same way, look at the one that if I held, I would have got destroyed. You know what I mean? So I kind of like try to make myself feel better. Actually, my worst trade was this one. You want to say, if you think Palantir is bad, this one was the worst. Carvana. So we were trading Carvana. It got so hammered. This stock was all the way down to $4. So we were watching this one when it finally broke around like 16. I'm like, oh, this thing's definitely going up. So we got out like somewhere right around here at 40. We thought we were kings. And then we're forgetting about it. And look where it went up to, went to 400. Just an animal. And Carvana, the reason why we like Carvana is Carvana, was a $350 stock. Just shows you how destroyed this stock got. You know what I mean? Went all the way down to $4, and what a big comeback. So this
amazing comeback.
Huge comeback.
Insane.
So and that's what you learn as being a trader. Like, listen, there's going to be more like that. As long as you're still in the game, that's what's most important.
I want to ask you, we had one of our channel members send a super chat here asking about Tesla. Big picture down to like, he wants to know about tomorrow, but big picture down to like smaller picture. What are you seeing around Tesla right now?
I own a lot of Tesla. Okay. I own, but not Tesla stock. I own TSLL. Okay. And which I can't understand that Tesla was at $40 TSLL. And if you look at Tesla, the stock.
Shout out to Direction, our channel partners here.
Right here. You could see right here that Tesla was basically at 480 at that time. So it's like, for some reason, it's like short. It's short like 20 points. But we own the TSLL, and I don't know if you guys trade these, but we've been trading a lot of the high yields. Do you ever trade these Ys? You guys know anything about
the yield max one. Yeah, we have their team one every week too. Yeah, I like trading. So people don't think about it because they think about the leverage one, but these the TSLY, these dividend producing ones or whatever, the yield max ones, they actually move really well sometimes.
You know what? They don't have what's safe. If they don't move, you're good. You know what I mean? Like TSLY since March, if you look at the trading range, it'd be $7 and $9. If you have 1,000 shares of this stock, okay, let's say you buy it now for $8,000, it pays you $210 a week.
Yeah. What do you reinvest those? Do you put it right back in?
So what I would do, well, half and half. Sometimes I'll use the money and buy something else if I can. But if I'm like, what happened was like I own NVDY, and this one came back down, so it's at a pretty good support level. I would sometimes average down to bring my cost, because my stock looks like I'm losing money in it. So I'll average down and take that, reinvest it back into it sometimes if it's worth it. But like NVDY, it's at a pretty good support level. You know what I mean? Right here, you can see it. It's trading up, but you could see where these yield max were. They were at $31. I mean, like, come from 31 down to 15 is like you lost half your money on it. But if you had for what it paid, you made it back. So the high yields are, a lot of them got pretty beat up, but they're at like a really good stable position now, and that's why we've been looking at them pretty heavily now. And some people love dividend plays; they're great. So
yeah, and
I've
got a friend that he put a bunch of money into this NVDY, and he did exactly what you were kind of saying, half and half. He takes half of it, buys the actual underlying to fund that, and he takes the other half and either reinvests it or uses it for something else. So he's like funding a underlying position with the money that he put into the yield producing. It's kind of interesting.
And there's actually two different kinds. There's YY also. Okay, so they I don't know, they just switched this over. YYs were weekly and single Ys were monthly. And now they made the single Ys weekly. They just converted that. So just so everybody knows that. Everybody's like, well, I'll add the weeklies and monthlies, but the weeklies were a lot safer play, which you could see here, like TSLY. When you look at TSYY, where is she here? Not so much. You see they came down, they come down a little bit more, just like NBDY. You can see how it's flat a little bit here. And then NBDYY, pretty volatile. But they convert them all to weeklies now. So, and they trade differently. One of them trades more the underlying on the option of, the way they kind of work is one of them works by off the how can I say it? If it's in a ETF, like a group ETF, I think the Ys do that, and I think it's the single Ys. The double Ys work off the option. So, and it's a lot of people who make money in options, they'll sell options, and they'll just get paid on the dividend on the premium. It's basically almost the same thing. It's working off it. So that's basically, people always ask me, how does that work? And that's how they actually be traded. So for some people here that don't day trade as much as we do and just want to be a dividend play, because I just did a big speaking up in Canada, a lot of these people that like dividends because tax purposes is pretty much something you have to look at. But there's a lot of them. I think there's like 60, 70 of them. They have it on MSTR, they have it on Microsoft, Intel, they all have them. So they're pretty big. But what was the question from the other person? They asked me about Tesla. I think someone was asking me a question there. What do you think of Tesla? Because I own a lot of it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts going into? I mean, big picture down into tomorrow was the actual question. I'd love to hear both thoughts.
I listen. I own a lot of Tesla. I think I'm 30% in, and it's at this big resistance levels. But we have something that we trade people. It's called what's called a Fausto flag. And some people look at bulls and bear flags and just kind of educate people a little bit what that is. When you have sellers and buyers, and when eventually sellers have X amount of shares to sell. Over here, you have a lot of buyers out there. When the buyers outbeat the sellers, that's how you get a breakout. That's what happened here with AMD. This is basically how they break out.
That's exactly where my mind went. Those high and tight flags. That's exactly where my mind went.
Yeah, and that's how eventually boom.
And there's a back test today too. Look at that.
Yeah, it is back testing right now. I mean, obviously it's coming down. That has a high yield also. I own that one too. There it is, AMDY. I'm not doing too well on it. I own it, I think, at like 970, but it's not really down that much though. But it pays me every week, so I made money on the dividend. So I'm actually ahead of the game on that one.
What else have you been looking at in trading as we get through obviously earnings season here, market breaking out and coming back in just a little bit? I think it was a healthy thing. I don't know if you have any thoughts on the broader market too, but I was curious what else you've been trading this week or things that are on your watch list going forward here.
So here's our trading floor. I started this about 30 years ago. These are all instructors and stuff right now. Like we've been trading, like right now they're trading FSLY. It's been on a really nice move right here. You can see it's at 1050. It's already at 1090. You could see out of all this, even though the market's down, it had a really good early morning run from 9:50 to 10:50. And what we kind of show everyone and teach everyone here is we're at getting close to the 2:30 program trading. Actually, I got to get you guys some of this. I invented this little mouse pad, best and worst times to trade. So 2:30.
Those are the best. We love those. Yeah. Our buddy made one with all like different.
Hold that up again.
Stuff.
Hold that up one more time. I want that big on our screen.
Look at that.
That is beautiful. Here, actually, let's fix that. Let me mirror you back. There we go.
There you go. You can see it. So it's.
I'm gonna have to give me one of those.
Yeah. I'll send you. Give me your address. I mail it to you. So I came up with this clock about. So when I was a market maker, they had it on the wall, and I says, "Well, you know what? It didn't look like this. I colored it in and stuff." And I says, "You know what? Because they were trying to tell you where program trading kicks in. So like at 9:35, things kick in. First 5 minutes is very dangerous. And it goes up to about 10:30, and it's like dead time. And then 2:30 is program trading. 3 o'clock, the bond market closes. 3:30 is tough time to trade. And then you got program trading kicks in at 3:30. Then you get 3:45. So we're getting into the most volatile times of the market right now. So what we try to do is we try to, you look at what's got a big push in the market. So like FSLY is something that we've been trading. And when you have a stock like this that is trending at the highs of the day, that's really what you're looking for. And then we're seeing with the orders. So we have a live audio broadcast that we also do at 2:30 every day at 9 and 2:30. So we'll go through the watch list. We'll see what's moving, get the traders set up. And like this, there's not really that much that's going on, but just work on the big percentage gainers. That's what we kind of look at. There's like really one that's been probably the most consistent and trending. And what people have to understand is when you look at a stock like FSLY, stocks at 10, and it's at 11,000 shares, $1 a day, there's your $250,000 salary. You don't have to kill it. So you don't have to always look at the fabulous sevens. You could trade stocks like this and still make money on it. But we kind of just work off the big percentage gainers. Here's another one that was pretty nice, IOLV that we found this morning. That was moving pretty good. What do we have over here? Oh yeah, there was one that they also looked at. Well, I'll look at that one, AMD, a little bit. There was a huge iceberg order in AMD that we found. Let me show you this right here. We did this on our alert service. So,
wow.
Yeah, look how beautiful this one is. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that big buy right there.
Do you listen on Bookmap? Do you listen to the audio stuff on it?
No, because we have audio that runs all day too.
You have the audio too? Yeah. I used to listen to it some like in my other ear, and it would just, iceberg NQ, iceberg NQ. Okay. It would get my attention, but it got to be too much and I had to turn it off.
By the way, make it official. I came out with the word iceberg. I came out with that word like 25 years ago.
No way.
Yeah, I came out with the word 25 years ago. And
what does it mean? What does iceberg mean for our audience?
I'm going to tell you, audience, because I did a video on it's on YouTube. I did like a 3-minute video. So basically, I came up with the word back when I watched the movie Titanic. So the Titanic, everybody knows the story, most unsinkable ship, right? And what happened to the ship? It sunk. So what happened was everyone's always looking at what's on the top, right? So the iceberg is not what's on top, it's what's on bottom. That's the massive. So obviously you don't have radar, don't have the right tools. You hit an iceberg, you're going to sink and die. So a lot of people that trading are always looking at the top. They don't realize that there's a different level. So we kind of teach something like most people looking at level 1 quotes or level 2, we show them level 3, and I call this level 4. So if you don't have that and you see that order, you're going to get screwed. So that's where, I kind of came up with the word is those are big iceberg orders. So there's official.
There you go. I love that. I love the reference to it as well. I did in the comments real fast. You see on the screen right there, cybertradinguniversity.com if you want to check Fausto and his crew out a little bit more. Also in the comments there, you'll see the YouTube channel that he just mentioned. So if you're on YouTube, go over there and subscribe. A lot of great educational content on there. You can see we're live over there as well. Shout out to the whole crew joining us this afternoon. But there's some really good instructional videos and stuff over there on that channel. So Fausto, I want to thank you for putting that stuff out there for people, but also want to make sure our audience is aware that it's there.
Yeah, and like I said, I do a lot of posts. I mean, here's the Instagram just to show you. I'm a big fan of doing a lot of shorts. I don't really do too much longs as much as I used to, but like all the ones that you see on YouTube, you'll see them here. It's just pretty easy here, but you could see I show like NVIDIA high dividend, how it paid me, layoffs in Amazon, how it affected the stock. Oh, there's Gav. I just did one on him. He was on yesterday.
Hey, what's up, Gap?
Really cool short. I did one pretty cool on chat. You know, it's crazy. It's so funny. I did this video right here. You guys gotta watch this one. So basically, ChatGPT tells me earnings before the report of Palantir. So I actually went out there and I asked ChatGPT, what's the earnings at Palantir in the morning? And it actually told me. I'm like, how did you know that? Look, you see right here? I had a couple, that's the short version, but it gets a little bit longer, but I explained it. I even asked X, and X even told me. And then I said, wait a minute, earnings come out this night. How did you know? And it says, oh, you're right. I slipped. I'm like, what do you mean you slipped? You made a mistake? And he's like, yeah, you're right. Then so how'd you know the earnings? So it told me, yeah, so you said 17 cents. That's another crazy, it's just a crazy story. It's a crazy video. Got a lot of likes, because of it. But definitely, if you guys watch it, make sure you subscribe to it, like it, friend it, and I always reply back to all of them.
Fausto, yeah. I gotta ask because I I forget what it is, and I seen one of the shows I used to watch when I was starting to learn trading and everything. The order flow you're looking at there, where you're seeing all the, I think it's just level 2, where you're seeing all the bids for all the different.
This right here.
Yeah. What is that platform called?
Which one? This one?
Yeah. What is that platform specifically?
Brokered. So listen, this is actually called BookViewer, but I don't really recommend anybody to open accounts with them. I've been doing business for 35 years. Their support's terrible, but they only, you got to be a really active trader. And because
I was just curious what it was called, because I remember like always trying to find it in the past, and I never could, and not something I really need to use anymore. I was just curious, to be honest.
We do education for like TradeStation, Thinkorswim, Tasty Works, Tasty Trade. We're actually in talks right now with Mumu, doing education for them. They all pretty much the same. You know what I mean? It's how you lay it out and take out all the window dressing that they give you. I could probably look at anyone's platform, and we got layouts. If anybody wants our layouts, if you have a specific brokerage firm, like even Schwab, he's the platform they use, the Edge platform, if anybody uses it, they basically bought that from a company I work with. They used to be called Cyber Trader. That's where the name Cyber Trading University comes from. So they bought like a spinoff of a company that I worked for, that I was partners with, 30 years ago. So they're all very customizable. It's just, listen, it's a car, right? It's like, okay, they all got 4 wheels and an engine and doors. It's just, it's a little bit features. Some got other features better than others, but you could still strip it down and make it more easy to read. When it comes to these platforms, you really got to learn how to, and there's like 50% of the failure rate, Jordan. You got to know how to take all this crap off and keep it clean, and then add it on, because it'll just end up confusing. You'll end up confusing you, and you end up thinking too much. You're not going to hit the button when you're supposed to.
It's like over-analysis paralysis, You just you have so many things telling you left and right and up, down, and left. It's just, you don't know what to do. If you have 1,000 different things telling you, you got to keep things somewhat simple. That's where it's like, trading is difficult in its own way. Like, it's obviously going to be a certain level of difficult, but you should have a clear system, right, that you can repeat every single day and have no problem explaining, right? I hate when you ask some people, oh, like, what's your strategy? And it takes them a year to explain it. It's like, okay, it should be very clean and simple and like straightforward, right? And so just repeatability at the end of the day is what I think we need to look for. And it seems like you got some systems that are very repeatable for you. So
they are. And you know what? The advice I tell everybody also, I might not be what person that you're looking for, but you all need to go out there and get education from several different people. Some people you might like, some people you might hate. I mean, there's some people like, oh, I love that guy. I'm like, that guy's a terrible trader. What made you like him about him? But he's good in a certain way. You got to find someone that's within your style. I also tell everybody this, that If you don't figure this out within a month or two, whoever trained you, you got to move on. You've obviously got a bad mentor, or it's not your style. You know, you should not be, like you mentioned, a year. You've doing it. I spoken to people, Jordan, that said they've been demo trading for a year. I'm like, what? I'm like, it's like, you got to drive the car.
You don't need to be doing that. Yeah. Well, you're just, we all know. I'm sure everybody in the audience knows too, that demo trading is much different than normal trading. And you can be on a hot streak killing it demo trading. And the second you flip the real money, it's like your world just flipped upside down and you have no idea what you're doing. Right. And it seems so simple. And then you make that switch and it's like everything changes for you because now you're risking real money and it's not a game anymore. Right.
Just buy one share.
The emotions are just so different.
Yeah. You have to practice. I'm all for back testing too. Like, I am the person to tell somebody, like, go and back test. Don't try it with real money first, blah, blah, blah. But there comes a point where that only takes you so far. And you have to get in the live markets. Even with it, like you say, one contract, very small, whatever it may be, just put some real money on the line. And you get that sense of, okay, this is what it's really like when I'm actively managing a real position, you know?
Yeah, just buy one share. You know what I mean? That's all you need. There's something pretty cool I want to show you. So we're doing our meeting right now. I turned off the audio because they're talking about it. They're just showing what's going on with FS the stock. These are alerts. Let me up over there. But they're showing the big order on FSLY, which had a really cool iceberg order. I want to show you that. It was really nice. Hold on. I got to bring it up.
Cruising higher, I am. You're long, aren't you?
I finally convinced Rizzo to get long with me. But I have those calls that on this morning stream I called out down there at the low, QQQ 618 and by 675 for tomorrow. They're
I can't believe Rizzo got short.
Yeah, they're up about 40% here. Brent's in them with me, I think, or somebody. Dom, I think Dom's in them with me in the chat.
Yeah, I've just seen.
I love Bookmap. If you guys don't use Bookmap, like, I feel like you can add a whole nother layer of confidence to a lot of your trades.
Yeah. You know what? Before, this is the problem with these platforms. They cost money, right? So I try to always tell everyone, I don't like anyone to spend any money until this is really your style, because obviously someone needs to teach you how to use it. So what I always recommend people to do is, because that platform can cost you $100, $200 a month, right? And still cheap, what I used to pay, but back in the day. But what I kind of recommend people to do is, hold on. Why did I lock up? Oh, there we go. Hold on a second. There we go. So I do a lot of work with NASDAQ. And if you go to the data store, you could actually get the NASDAQ book viewer, which is like level 3. You're just getting the raw data. Let me just show you what it is. This costs $15 a month. So if you send me guys an email, you could see, like, I'll show you how to customize it, how to set the default. So let me just move this over right here and see this over here. So basically, see the current order book is where the orders basically you can get. That's what this is. So NASDAQ, you could basically just, if you want to say, you know, I like this, is so cool, you know, where can I get it? Before you start thinking about going this route and be very active, you could always go and you could use this one for now. Just use NASDAQ book viewer for $15. If anyone here uses Thinkorswim, you actually can get Bookmap with Thinkorswim. It's like $40 a month. It's not as much with got all the bells and whistles, but it does have a lot. But this, I just tell for the minimum, definitely do this, you know, for $15. And but if you email me, I can get you the layouts. I did like 2 videos on it, 5-minute videos. You can also get on my YouTube channel, at least because you want to be able to make sure you set the defaults right and everything else. And you got to be careful because of another thing. Let me log off and just make sure you do this too. Down here at the bottom, there's 2 different. There's non-pro and professional. So you're only going to pay 15. People like, what would $76 the better one? Professional is just people that are registered. If you're a broker or whatever, that's just how they make their money. So I always get people like, what's the difference one versus the other? And that's what that means. So, but definitely at the minimum, you should do that, get that up and running, and you'll learn a lot. But I want to show you something pretty cool on this one where we had another breakout. You guys probably could see that. You see that big red line right there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
That was a huge order out there trying to sell. I'm going to tell you how many shares was that? 152,000. So see this little green ball right there? That order got filled. So that was at what time? 1080. So he got filled, and then it went higher, and then buyers showed up, and this is called a ladder effect. So this guy's obviously trying to buy it, and he's obviously not getting it. Now he's bidding it up, and that guy's for 30,000. So if you were here at 130 and you saw this big iceberg order there, and he got filled, you can see somebody here was the bottom, but he got filled, 1070, and right now 11. We're at 1110, 1103. I mean, 30 cents on 1,000 shares. It's still $300. Some people might not think that's a lot, but it is a lot of money in day trading, because if you do that every day, there's your $50,000, $60,000 salary. You can be done for the day. But those orders are really, really important. Those big, I'm sorry, I apologize. That guy was at 1040. That's where he was, and then he got filled. You see a bit of broke out. So 1030 to 1170 cent move. That's a nice little pop. So that was a good move right there.
Have you looked at SMCI at all? People were asking in the chat.
They came out earnings, right? SMCI.
Yes. Yeah, they got beat up. Yeah, they got beat up on earnings.
So SMCI was a very fun stock. We traded this stock, and some people might not know this, but SMCI did do a reverse stock split. It was a 10-for-1 split, so this stock did go up. When was it?
It was like 1,100, wasn't it? 1,200 bucks.
Yeah, and this is factored in the split. So it was at 120. You could see here.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's where it was. But SMCI, what took over SMCI was Rigetti. Rigetti was kind of took over SMCI as the supercomputer. But SMCI does have a lot of support levels right here. You can see here, we've been watching it, we've been waiting patiently to see what happens when it gets down to 40. Today, you could see it. People like, should I buy now at 42? I'm like, why pay 42? That's what goes to 40. You could buy $2 cheaper. So we've been watching it pretty closely. As orders go, see if anyone's out there. Yeah, he's there. See him? Oh, this is really nice. You're gonna like this. This is called we call it a four-layer cake on the orders.
That's looks like the plunge protection team.
yeah. So yeah, this is really nice. You don't see this too often. So you guys getting a little treat here who are listening in. So you could see that the high frequency trades are just stacking the bid here at $40. Now, let me ask you, did you need an indicator to tell you that?
No, sir.
Exactly. Beautiful.
I'm with you. I don't really use, I'm all price action based.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is when I look at my analysis of a chart, I look at, fibs, levels, trend lines, whatever it is, right? And then I can look at Bookmap and I see 1,000 orders waiting at that same spot. That just tells me somebody's charting it the same way I am. Yeah, exactly. That's the way I approach Bookmap. And if I see massive orders like this and I don't have this on my chart, it makes me think I'm charting it wrong. So just to get both sides of that coin.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you're a day trader, I mean, like, as a day trader, you're buying, it's basically reading the right of the chart, and it's just basically following the orders. If you're a swing trader, short-term swing trader investor, the indicators are important. Obviously everybody has certain, there's reason how they work, and you got to remember, mathematicians made a lot of the indicators. But as a professional trader, floor trader, if you ever see anybody in New York Stock Exchange, they're just looking at they're just looking at, a tablet, and they're just following, where's the buyer and sellers. It's an auction. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
if you've been to an auction, a car auction, people that are bidding for cars or whatever, they're not looking at like, oh, let me go check on eBay. What's the trend, this and that. By that time, the car's gone. That whatever they're buying is completely gone. So, but you could see this is really, really kind of spells it out beautifully. So you could see how big of a support level that is right there, around $40 to $40.50. Now, it could break it. It could happen, And if I go back all the way down to $40, $34, there's no one out there. So that really is a major, major support. So if you're interested in buying it, that's where you want to focus your attention in. And you could see it. It kind of got there around 1 o'clock, 450. You see that right there? It never wanted to break it. Came down nice from from the open this morning from 43. But it looks like you could see it's starting to hold right here. So it could be a good. That's how you find good swing trades with it. And the thing about Bookmap, it's not showing you all the orders. Level 2, you could see here, you're looking at BATS, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange. You're only seeing two exchanges. You're only seeing NASDAQ and you're only seeing EDGX. You can see there's a bunch of other exchanges out there. So, it only aggregates, two of the whatever, two of the.
Do you filter for like large orders? That's one way I use, like on the time and sells. I mean, I trade futures more, so I think it's a little bit more, for me that fits what I do. But I just wonder if you filter, if you look at all of it, or if you track like the big orders and buys much, because like that's one thing I watch is I watch the book map, and then I watch and I see, okay, where are these big orders, filling, and what are they, and I'll even mark them on my chart sometimes. Like, okay, somebody dropped in, 800 NQ at this level. Like I just kind of want to know somebody's position at this level, one direction or the other.
Well, yeah. I mean, what I try to do also is, everyone should have a little legal pad next to them, and you should write down the levels on here, the numbers. So you don't have to constantly keep checking or reminding you, was that order still there? What that number was? So absolutely. I do that all the time. And and then what's nice about it is that, especially I like the small one, I'll write down SMCI, and the price of stock right now is 40.90. So I teach my students. So we're here, and the big support levels are like 40.50 and 40. And then the highs, I'll say 41.50, 42. So you probably get you can see right there. You can kind of see where I'm going with this, and then what happens? Like you always can come back, and you don't have to worry about, I didn't have a load up here and load there, and you just turn the page. If you ever go back to the stock, I'm like, I trade SFCI. Go back, and that's basically how I kind of work it. And sometimes it's better writing things down than I'll always kind of let the computer do it for you.
Agreed. I used to do that a lot more. I don't do it as much, to be honest, but I used to always write everything down by hand, just like that. That having to write it down.
Well, as a beginner, I always recommend that people write things down.
Yeah. Same with journaling.
I do it all. I make notes, but I make them all digitally. I don't know if that counts or not, but like I put things on my chart digitally, or I type them in somewhere and keep them like a little note area that I have. And there are a lot of programs have this, by the way. If you're trading, a lot of trading platforms have it built in, or obviously just a notepad, whatever. I use, the sticky notes like on Microsoft. I used to use that one a lot, and now I'm on my Mac more than I am my Windows desktop over here. But I used to use that one all the time, and I'd type in levels, big orders, news stories, something I wanted to pay attention to. I would save it all there, and then a lot of times at the end of the day, I'd go back and I'd compile what I thought was pertinent to keep.
Yeah, well, it's when you start getting better at, because some people are computer challenged that we also train too, like older people. They, we still go old school. I'm like, just write it down. You know what I mean? And what happens? Your brain works differently on a different side when you write things down versus when you try to do it mechanically. I was always taught from these neurologists and stuff. But like when you're at your level, guys, you could do that. But if you just want to be able to also be focused on, you know, if you got to hit the button, you got to hit the button. You know the number, you know the number. Don't keep getting, because you don't want to. Sometimes people start getting a little crazy with these computers and start doing this program, that program, that program. At the end of the day, I'm like, did you trade today? They're like, no, I was too busy doing this and that, and they start procrastinating. You know, so you gotta know how to hit the button. Even if it's one share, just buy one stinking share of the stock. You know, what's the worst thing could happen? So, I mean, like, I'll buy
That's
it.
what our buddy Evan does a lot of. Evan, he'll buy one share just to keep it as a watch.
Yeah, like I'll buy 100 shares of the stock right now. I'll just buy execute it. I'll buy here at 490. I'll see what happens. I mean, we're at pretty big support levels. I'll see what happens. You know, I mean, what am I going to save? Maybe 20 cents. You know what I mean? But we're at a pretty big support level. If this thing slingshots up, I'll do. You know, it's gonna take off. But I will probably look at this being more of a swing trade at these levels. Is day trading like this one that moved up pretty nicely, but the SMCI looks like it could be a good swing trade. So I'm looking at that now. When I get down to that level of SMCI, if I notice if it's gonna break it, I'll get out. You know, but I know what my limits are. My limit are, as I just wrote it down. It's going to be that 40.50 or $40. So it's all about being patient. Is anything else moving? I'll say,
I was kind of looking around to see what, I mean, a lot of the market itself popped. I was kind of looking around to see if anything was moving right now. Obviously, some of those weight loss drugs were moving earlier during the Trump thing. They've faded a little bit since then.
Yeah,
Microsoft is popping back up. Yeah, Eli Lilly and NVO, Novo Nordisk.
Oh yeah, I've been a big fan of Eli Lilly for a while, and I think the ship has gone and sailed. It already made that big run these last couple of days. I mean, you can see here, what is it, the 6th? Okay, in 6 days, it ran from 820 up to 960. I mean, the thing's been on a big tear. I know earnings came out on it just recently. It was last week, I think it was. But this is all-time highs on Eli Lilly. And Nuvo does Wegovy. Eli Lilly does Zepbound. Yeah. So Nuvo, not so much. I mean, it's at a pretty big support levels right here. It's getting to 45, but if he does sign, they do sign that deal. I mean, it's going to be expensive, but you know, the whole weight loss struggle, what they're doing, they obviously do work. And if they can sign those deals, it would be great. It's just bringing down the price on it. But listen, the Trump effect, everyone has to listen. There's people that are fans of Trump, and there's people that hate Trump more than anything. Listen, he's been the best, greatest things for the trading market. Whenever he talks and he does a deal, I mean, it actually comes to fruition. It makes some of these stocks really move.
It's true.
You know, like
it's opportunity.
Yeah.
It brought a lot of opportunity beginning of the year, I'll tell you that. My long term is very happy with the purchases we made, you know, on the tariff dip. And just simply, it's funny too, because I'm a young guy. I haven't been around that long. You know, I haven't really studied the markets for, you know, years and years and years. The longest I've been in here is 5 years. And, but even with that, you know, you could look back at the market and notice, doesn't matter if it's 08, doesn't matter if it's COVID, doesn't matter if it's tariffs. It's all a buying opportunity. Well, it's all a buying opportunity. And that's where I just see most people come in with options and get wrecked pretty quick because it's a timely asset. Whereas, you know, taking advantage of these dips, especially on something where I'm simply, you know, taking advantage of SPY and QQQ. I'm not even trading many individual names on something like that in my long term. And that's where things are very simple, you know, and stress-free. I don't have to sit there and worry about earnings reports and all this. It's like, it's the S&P 500. It's going to be fine. If it's 20% down, I'm buying. It's simple as that, you know?
Well, one thing I always recommend, I tell everybody about options. The biggest problem with options is everyone gets sold. It's here in New York, we call it, as a market maker, it's a poor man playing a rich man's game. And the reason why people trade is because they feel like, why buy the stock? You could buy their options cheaper. But I always tell them, yeah, you could do that. But if you really want to be a good options trader, you got to be a good stock trader first. It's the movement of the stock that makes an option. So, you know what? Like we're looking at that SMCI. I'm just saying, like, you know what? It's like, you know, I don't want to dish out 40 grand to buy 1,000 shares of it. It is a pretty big support. I need that cash flow. Maybe I will do an option, but you should always think about buying the stock first. And because you got time, commission, and spread to beat, right? And, unless you understand how the market really works, you don't want to try to with options, because I know so many people blow up their accounts on options, and they all start with options, because they got sold.
I did. Yeah. I don't trade them as much anymore. I'll still trade them here and there because I've learned how to actually trade them a bit now. And
you got to learn how to trade, like you said.
Yeah,
it's a perfect thing you said. You got to learn how to trade first.
Well, that's the thing. It's trading shares, trading futures, even is direction. Like all you have to worry about is getting the direction right and your risk to reward. Right. Whereas like options, it's an added thing with the time decay, right? It's a whole nother game when it's like, okay, you can get the whole direction right, your plan play out, but if you didn't time it correctly, you're going to lose money, right? Still, even being correct. And so that's where it's really, really tough.
And you know what? There's some really good options traders out there, and they'll tell you, and you'll think like, wow, that guy's got a great strategy. And then you hear someone else like, wow, that's a great strategy. You try it. I'm like, listen, it's a great strategy, but you even know why it's a great strategy? Do you understand the direction of it first? You know what I mean? Like he's been doing it for a long time. He found that little niche. And that's why that's what you have to find. That's what you have to learn first. You know what I mean? So learn how to trade first, see how you do with that, and then go, and then you can try to play these shortcuts, let's call it, and play these leverage plays before you do that. And getting back to you said earlier that you've been, you haven't traded that long. When you go through catastrophes like I've been through, like some of you have been through COVID, so you saw that was a big catastrophe. But I went through 9/11. That was a huge crash in the market. The financial crisis, I really thought that was the worst out of them all. I mean, like, I don't know if anyone here remembers that, but like banks were going out of business. You know what I mean? Like people freaking out, finding out that they have money in their bank account and it might not be there because the the insurance on it was the SMI, whatever it's called, didn't cover it. That was pretty bad. The internet bubble back in 2000, that was pretty bad. COVID, that was pretty bad. But some people got lucky with COVID. They never got into the market. It forced people to learn how to trade. Now people start realizing that it's easy, but you got to go through a catastrophe that you went through. And if you could survive that, you'll definitely be able to do this for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And I just think, you look at the charts and it's like what's happened on all of those big events that have brought price down. What has happened since the start of the market, right? And look at where the market's at right now. We just pulled back from all-time highs. It always ends up rebalancing the all-time highs. And so that's where my biggest thing is just making sure I don't get taken out on the move down. And when the move down is happening, I have cash to deploy because I need to be buying that, right? And, maybe at some point things really do go belly up or whatever, and things aren't as good as I think and whatever. Maybe the market has a catastrophe and doesn't come back from it like we have in the past, even though I just don't think that's going to happen. But if it does, okay, cool. When it happens, I'll deal with it then because it's not something that's ever happened in the market before. And to be frank, I mean, if that's happening, the last thing we're going to be worried about is the money in our investment accounts. Yeah. I think if something really catastrophic is happening to the market. And so that's where, again, it just comes back to every big correction we have. I mean, drop this market 40% tomorrow, I'll buy it in the fear of everybody. I don't care, right? It's just got to take those opportunities.
It always comes back. I mean, listen, this right here on the Dow is this was the Liberation Day, when it came in. And the Dow went from like 44,000 all the way down to 37,000. And then this one day, this is crazy. This one day,
Trump came out and said, bye.
Yeah.
That was the day he said, bye.
He said, he goes, you better buy right now. I don't matter. This is your chance. 37,000 to 40,700. That moved literally 3,000 points in one day. Okay.
Yeah.
That was basically this is when it got crazy right around there from April. And then you could see it like, everyone killed it right around there. But you got to be patient though. One thing I always tell everybody, like, don't try to catch a falling knife. Eventually a knife's going to hit the floor. and you want to see it, like depending on if you're swing trading it, you want to at least have at least 2 or 3 days. You want to have like 3 candlesticks, let's say green or something, even on the stock, to kind of know that this is a consistency before you jump in. And yeah, sure enough, that was a fun time. So but for some people here, if you were trading within the past year, you went through Liberation Day or the election, and then if you traded, the last correction was obviously COVID. So they're going to happen. They're going to happen. So
yeah,
that's fun ways. Did you guys trade Beyond Meat?
I didn't trade it. Not something I really touched, but we were watching it and talking about it. And a lot of our traders either traded a little bit on the way up or started shorting it on the way down and tried to get rid of it because we don't really like Beyond Meat too much in our crew. It's just kind of memey, it's kind of like a meme stock, and
it was.
We just think it's kind of a pump and dump every time until something actually changes.
Well, it's a good lesson learned. I mean, us day traders. I mean, I screwed up that trade too. I mean, I watched this thing get crushed right here. I saw it from $2, and then all of a sudden, it showed up on my big losers list. It was down to like 80 cents, and then all of a sudden, on this second day right here, when it gapped up, it went from like 50 cents up to here to $1.20. We kind of traded it right here. On this day right here, it was a good overnighter, but once it broke this high right here at 250, I think a lot of us got out at 3, because it was just going up. It was definitely a meme. I mean, to go from 60 cents to $3. I mean, this one was traded 1.5 billion shares in one day. I don't know when the last time you've seen a stock trade that many shares, but it definitely was a meme stock, and it went all the way down to 8. But unfortunately, there are people out there, if you don't know how to trade a meme stock, there's some people that own it at $5 and $6 and think it's going to come back, and they blew their, they're still holding on to it. And it's like, are you out of your mind? I mean, but I'm glad you guys point that out, because what you're capable of doing. There's meme stocks all the time. I mean, if you go back to the GameStop days, but like,
we hate it, honestly. If we're going to take any opportunity, it's money we're totally fine with losing completely. And it's just, that's really gambling. You know what I mean? We're not trying to gamble, even though what we do is, very much we're taking risk every day, but it's just like, we're not trying to actively put ourselves in a position where we're gambling like that. I want to have edge, and with that type of stuff, you have no edge. You just don't. You can't argue that you have.
If you're a momentum trader, and you're good at, like, I'm sure Fausto and his crew probably crush this. I know a lot of our crew doesn't really trade these names a whole lot. But if you're a momentum trader and you're trading, equity back and forth, especially if you're longing, shorting both sides of these, I think there's really good opportunity, because volatility is what a trader wants, right? But you do have to make sure your trading system has some type of edge in it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And these are positions that are quick. You're not holding and hoping for.
So we have some breaking news. There's a possible vote to end the shutdown tomorrow. I'm just hearing on the news wires right now. The airline stocks are getting a pop on that more than anything.
Wow. About to get into power hour. Fausto, I know we're at the top of the hour. You got any last things you want to run with the crew here?
Well, like I said, if you want to learn how to day trade, I'm here. I'll show you how the game's being played. You just got to know, be in cash, don't hold overnight positions. Basically, I'll be traveling getting back before you answer that. I'm glad that they did, because I'm actually traveling tomorrow to Aruba. I'm going on a big family, trip.
There we go.
Yeah. So we're really worried about, like, shit, are we going to get delayed? Because I saw that thing came in that they're going to cut 10% workforce. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, like, we planned this trip like 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
So I need to get stuck in Aruba. Not the end of the world, but still bring my
laptop. The end of the world being stuck in Aruba, that's for sure.
But if anyone have experienced that, that is not fun to find out. Oh, your plane's canceled. There's only one flight that goes out, so you got to
right. Especially when you plan that out. Yeah, not fun.
Yeah,
my parents are supposed to fly to visit me tomorrow. My dad is all nervous wreck.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of a pop on Delta. So you got Delta, you got UAL.
UAL,
JetBlue, JBLU.
Yeah, JBLU, AAL. I think the permanent pair trade is short American and long the other airlines. It's the permanent.
Saves that business.
It's saved completely. Yeah. It was funny. I remember like the whole bankruptcy stuff went through, and I was flying through Houston, and I saw some Spirit Airline planes like on the runway. I'm like, hey, I thought you guys were bankrupt.
I would
Still
never.
operating.
I had to fly on one recently.
They
I will
are
never.
ever. They are the absolute worst. You know,
It's a Greyhound in the sky.
that's being nice. Terrible. But just like I said, advice wise, like I said earlier, try to sample a bunch of different courses from different people. Find a mentor, find a good group. Make sure that whoever trains you has a trading room so you can be there and trade with them. Make sure people practice what they preach. Check out their Google reviews, very important. Make sure brokerage firms are endorsing them. That kind of helps out a lot too. Try to find your style, learn a little bit of try a little bit of everything, and just don't trade what you can't afford to lose. I know that I saw FINRA at a money show. I was in Orlando, did a speaking, and they are trying to get rid of the day trading rule. They're just waiting for the SEC to open up. So a lot of people that hurt our business a long time ago is when they had the $25,000 day trading rule, kind of screwed a lot of people. That's why a lot of people went to Forex and options and futures and stuff. But they're going to apparently bring it down to $2,000. If that happens, it's going to be a really big opportunity for people to get back into it. So, but just like I said, don't afford, trade what you can afford to lose. And like you were mentioning, gambling. Listen, driving a car is a gamble. It's all about having control.
Yeah.
If you don't feel you have control in something, get out of it. Because if you get caught on one side, it'll put you out.
Couldn't agree more. Well, Fausto, always a pleasure having you on. I know we'll have you on again soon.
Yeah, whenever you guys
appreciate you coming on, sharing charts, talking with the audience. We love this.
Yeah, well, I'm always here. Like I said, if you guys ever want to learn about if there's ever a day trading situation, a catastrophe, I'm here. Come on, hop on, tell you guys what's going on, what needs to be done.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. Thanks for having me, guys.
Always. See you soon. Have a good one.
Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Sure, Fausto. I'll drop the links in the chat again if you want to check Fausto out. His room, there you go, right there. You scan that, pause the stream, scan that right there with your phone.
Yeah, like I do. If you guys want to come do a 1-week trial in a trading floor, I'll also talk to you on the phone. Like I said, after a couple of days, if I know you're taking it seriously, we just do a $9 trial for a week, and everything. I'll give you all that stuff. So if anyone's interested, feel free to scan that. All right.
Yep. Appreciate you, Fausto. Great stuff.
Thanks,
everybody
guys.
In the audience. Make sure you guys are checking out Fausto on social media and his YouTube, everything like that.
Yep. Look forward to it. Always love to help out. Thanks, guys.
Take care, Fausto. Thanks for joining.
All right, man.
All right, I got to get Stocks and Spaces going. The original link didn't work.
Sounds goody. I'll throw out my screen. Give me a second. How you doing, crew? Fausto's great, isn't he? That was fun. I like having him on. Where is... There we go. This is not updating. There we go. All right.
Oh, you can throw yours up too. Just put mine smaller.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get something on the screen.
Yeah.
Just bear with me for a second, guys. I'll catch up with chat, everything. I just got to make sure, and Evan's rolling over here on Stocks and Spaces.
Good. No trades in New York session for your boy. Traded that last night, though. That was sexy. We love that. Was nice this morning, though. After London closed up, I mean, we manipulated the London highs. I didn't play this. I wasn't even awake yet at this hour. I was still asleep. But if you were awake, this was beautiful after taking out London session highs. I'll do this to make it easier to see. But again, those that follow my trading closely, you guys know, if we're manipulating Asia highs, taking out London highs, and we haven't traded to London Asia lows yet, what do I expect? Just based off of levels, not even looking at any gaps, nothing like that. Just based off levels, I'm going to expect the market to have to trade towards the untapped liquidity at London lows, Asia lows. So that was nice. I was not awake, though. I was still passed out because I was up at freaking 3 a.m. Eastern trading. So I was not catching that short, but congrats to anybody that did because you freaking banked it. I wouldn't have ever even held anywhere down here. Like the most that could have been held is London low, Asia low, but still it's beautiful. Midnight open would have been a target as well. So midnight open, first target, partial here. Stop goes to break even. Maybe you can add to the position. Keep the same risk that you had to get to London low.